Movember Nuke.
Hello dear artist, it is the number 20 about Movember Nuke, and today we are talking about the second part on chromatic aberration. The first time you're talking about chromatic aberration, you just discovered two tricks with the transform mask and the godways to create that's called lateral transverse chromatic aberration. But we're talking about another one, previously famous too, the longitudinal chromatic aberration, about the axial chromatic aberration. So I will show you how you will play with this. So if you remember sometime on the chromatic aberration, you maybe notice that the height value on a picture contain a lot of aberration. And this is come from the lens, of course, and especially the aperture of the lens. So to try to reproduce this, you will use the convolve. I love the convolve because the convolve is like a matrix. You have a pattern, a kernel, and we try for each pixel to apply the mathematics behind this pattern. To reproduce this famous kernel, we will use a very small constant, so 50 on 50, and I will apply a flare inside it. Why a flare? Because the flare gives me a very nice control about the shape of my axial chromatic aberration. For this, I have a flare that will be in the center on my pattern. So if I apply this to my convolve, you see it's pretty ridiculous. The system doesn't work at all. Why? Because convolve always looking for the alpha channel of a filter. So you can use a use input channel, and everything will be used by the convolve. So as you see, we have a kind of defocus. That's normal because for each pixel we have this pattern applied. But for me, I want in the first time to create the chromatic aberration. I will play a little bit with inside and outside radius to have something would be inside my very small constant. And you have now the control on the chroma spread and the chroma shift. The chroma spread, as you see, we just create this aberration, pretty interesting. You can do the invert if you want. That will depend on the effect you want to create. And this will be applied through the convolve because the convolve will use the wall channels. And as you see, now we have a defocus, but pretty interesting now because you see the chromatic aberration, especially around the high value, as you will want. But you maybe notice that the pattern is very big. No worries. We just play a little bit with the size multi of your flare. And if you play this, you will just reduce the size of the convolve. And if you compare now, you will see we keep the chromatic aberration, the high value, without to break a lot the information inside the pattern. And that's pretty cool because with that you can create a lot of effect, especially a lens effect. For example, you can increase the size a bit, and we can play with the chroma spread in the other side. So for example, I will just go this time in the red. And after that, you can play with the anamorphose. So you can just apply something that will be on the vertical or more on the horizontal to create a very nice chromatic aberration and totally rely to the flare. So just respect a very nice size for this element, and now we have a chromatic aberration on the whole picture that will be the longitudinal one. So that's all, folks. I hope that we'll appreciate this course. Don't forget, this is for the Movember. So if you go on my webpage, don't hesitate to give a donation. That will be appreciated. Thank you and see you soon.